Hi, friends. I'm Courtney. I'm a performer, speaker, and a writer. I'm a mama to three crazy boys and a super sweet dog. I decided 12 years ago that I needed to create a business that worked for me instead of me working for it. I'm a multi passionate entrepreneur who may be considered a serial entrepreneur by some, but then I realized that all of my businesses focused on connection, community, and creating an incredible experience. I cannot wait to share with you how to make small but mighty changes in your life to affect your overall well being and create a life and business you want to get up in the morning for. That's right, my friends. I am the Renaissance Mama. Hi, friends. It's me, Courtney, the Renaissance Mama, and I am so happy to have you here today. Thank you so much for checking out the show. Thank you so much for supporting me, and let's just hop right into it. So I don't know if you were able to check out my last show, but I chatted all about how you can make a year in review for yourself, how it's super important to really take the time to reflect and kind of figure out where you came from, what happened this year, and how you want to build on and move on to next year. But I thought today would be a little bit fun to kind of think about what happened in 2022 in general in the world, and then also share with you some of my favorite episodes that if you haven't had a chance to check out, I think you need to. So first of all, I don't know about all of you guys, but for me, I was a little hesitant going into 2022. I thought, okay, we all know what happened in 2020. 2021 was still a little bit up in the air. And 2022, I was just like excited. I was ready to make big moves. I was ready for good things to happen. I was ready for life to get back to normal. But in the back of my head, and I'm sure so many people were thinking this, we were all wondering what this new normal would look like. And I think we were all a little bit worried that maybe COVID is here to stay forever, or we just didn't know what was going to happen, how life was going to continue on. I don't know if that's how you felt, but that's definitely how I felt. And I feel still like at the end of 2022, still looking at, all the numbers in our hospitals and how COVID is still such a real thing and something to be aware of. It's kind of crazy. I think we still thought like, oh, it's going to be gone. It's gone. But in the back of our minds, we always knew it's around for a while and we have to learn to live with it and adapt and figure out how we can continue with our lives. All right, so let's hop in right to some of the biggest moments of 2022. So of course, one of the biggest moments I had to think of right off the bat was the slap, right? I mean, at the Oscars, Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. I think I was with the millions of people who thought it was a sketch. This is fake. This has to be fake. And then, wait a second, is this real? What? It was mind-blowing. And I still to this day have to kind of question. I feel like there's two groups of people. There's the people who believe that he did the slap 100% because he was so angry of the rude comments and he just had enough. And then there's the group of people who believe this might have been a publicity stunt. For me, I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. I feel like he was really angry. He let his emotions kind of take hold of him, and he was really upset by what Chris Rock said. So he slapped him. But I think as soon as he did that, he realized, ooh, that was not a great choice. So then he really stood behind, his reasoning of why he did it to kind of justify it to the world, right? Like if you're defending your wife, you feel like you have some sort of justification. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's kind of what I believe. And then I believe because it became so big and such a huge publicity thing that he kind of had to find a way to sort of save face while still trying to be the good guy that we've always thought Will Smith was. I mean, did you ever think Fresh Prince would go up and slap somebody in the face? I didn't. And of course, when you're talking 2022, you have to think of people who passed away. Celebrities in particular who passed away and really kind of shook things up. For me, for sure, that was Bob Saget. Like, it was shocking. And I think what was more shocking about the whole Bob Saget passing away story was that it seemed a little bit unanswered. It seemed like the story was he fell in his hotel room and then that was it. Like, that hurt my heart. I mean, who didn't love Danny Tanner growing up as a kid? I wish he was my dad. Who didn't? He was such a huge part of so many people's childhood. I remember so many of his lines in Full House. I remember, turning on an episode and knowing exactly what was going to happen, knowing what he was going to say. Remember, his character was such a clean freak. He was always cleaning things and doing things, but at the end of the day, he just cared about his kids and his family. And then, I don't know if you guys knew this, but as a comedian, he actually told really funny and raunchy jokes. So it was always such a funny balance that, like, in real life, he was nothing like the Danny Tanner character. I mean, he was extremely talented, and I believed him the whole time that was who he was. But in real life, he was a really talented comedian. I can't even talk. He was a really talented comedian, and it's always is so upsetting when celebrities die and they die a little bit too young. Another celebrity that we lost this year was Leslie Jordan, another comedian who is hilarious that I remember very well from the TV show Will and Grace. And once again, a very kind of surprising death. You weren't expecting it. I feel like sometimes when we know people are sick, then it doesn't seem as shocking, but this one also was quite surprising. And then, of course, one of the biggest deaths that rocked the whole world was the Queen. And we knew she was getting older. We knew it was going to happen, but I feel like she is one of those people that we thought, who knows? Maybe she'll just keep on going. Maybe she'll just live forever, because it seemed like she had. And she was such a huge part of so many things, so many people's lives, that it was very, very surprising when she passed away. So death is always, unfortunately, something that happens every year, and it's always going to continue to happen every year. But I find it's definitely something when you're looking in that year in review of what happened and what you remembered, it's one of those things for sure. So next thing, who cannot forget? I mean, it's actually really just taking effect now, but Elon Musk buying Twitter. And that, I think we haven't even really seen the beginning of what that whole snowball effect is going to happen. So I have a feeling coming 2023, there's going to be a whole lot more pieces moving, things happening that we're not expecting, because why not? He's Elon Musk. He can do what he wants. So I have a feeling there's going to be some more surprises. There's going to be big moments happening for sure. Who cannot forget? And I will say I didn't really hop on this bandwagon, but I've heard so many people did. The Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. Like, it was insane. Some of the stories, some of the memes, a lot of the TikToks that came from that trial. To me, it just seemed like it was one of those situations, kind of like a car accident, that you're like, ooh, I don't want to watch this. I don't want to check it out. But you kind of had to, because it was just so crazy. And some of the things that were coming out of their mouths was just insane, absurd. I don't know. It was a little bit of all of that. I mean, I don't know how they ever were a couple to begin with. It seemed like they were just really brought out the worst in each other, but that might be my opinion. And then who also, if we're talking about other couples, who would possibly imagine that Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck would get back together? Like, you wonder why couples in Hollywood have such a difficult time. Like, how they broke up years ago. They both had so many different relationships. They both have very public relationships. And then they got married in 2022. Like, I don't know if that was something I ever saw coming. It seemed very surprising, but hopefully things are good for them. Who knows? I feel like Hollywood weddings are always a little bit dicey. You never know exactly what's real, what's not, all right? I mean, once again, is this for publicity? Is this an actual thing? Is this, who knows? I mean, we all know how hard regular relationships are. I can't imagine being in the public's eye and having photographers all the time and just craziness. So those poor Hollywood actors have such a hard time in relationships. I know, it seems a little silly, but at the same time, everyone just deserves a little bit of love. They deserve to, be together. Another really kind of funny thing that took over in 2022, and I will say I was for sure a part of this, and then I slowly fizzled out, but it was the Wordle craze. Come on, how many people woke up first thing in the morning, hopped on their phone, and tried to get the Wordle of the day? I will tell you, I still have friends who message me every morning and show me their little Wordle of the day and how many tries they got to get the word. And then there was different versions. There was Quirtle, and then there was a number one, and then there was all these different options. I was doing it for quite a while, and then what happened is my phone actually kind of reset, so it went back to 0, and I was like, well, now I've lost my streak, so I kind of gave up. But like I said, I have some friends that still every day do the Wordle. And actually my favorite part about that now is that they'll give each other hints. So I'm like in a group text message and I see the hints. And I think the hints are probably the best part. Like they should do a totally different app just about the hints, because some of their hints are absolutely hilarious. But I would love to hear how many of you hopped on the Wordle craze and if you are still doing Wordle. All right, some big movies for 2022. Of course, the actual biggest movie of 2022 was their, not even remake, but was the next version of Top Gun, Maverick. It has been something that people have been talking about for years. So the fact that it was finally here and it was actually good, I think people were so excited. Like, it was amazing. Trust me, I know some of my friends were a huge fan of Top Gun. They actually dressed up as them as a costume this year as well. But they were so excited. They loved the movie. It was so amazing to see. And then, of course, the Marvel movies. We had the newest Doctor Strange one. We had the Wakanda Forever, which also was missing their biggest star, and it still was a huge success. I have a feeling though, you can't really go wrong with some of those Marvel movies. My kids are huge fans. We watched all of the movies from the beginning, and then I think we did that again as well. There are some of them that are my favorites for sure. There are some I'm not as big of a fan of, but definitely some that I really enjoy, and we just love watching them together and like really cheering on some of the characters and watching some of the storylines. So those are just some of the top moments of 2022, but I thought I would share with you some of my, I was gonna say best, but maybe it's not even best, some of my favorite episodes of The Renaissance Mama. And I'm going to share how you can listen to them as well, because it's not fair if I just share how awesome these episodes are and then you don't even get to check them out. So, all right. So there's a few different ways you can listen to The Renaissance Mama. You could hop on therenaissancemama.com, or you can hop on the Fired Up Network, and I'm in the Femme section of the shows, and you can check out some of these awesome Renaissance Mama episodes. So I thought I would share with you some of the ones that people always chat to me about or ask questions about, or they're like, oh my goodness, Courtney, like, I loved this one. So one of the first ones was actually the first one that I was on Femme Network for, and it was parenting milestones that you don't talk about. And what I did in that episode is I chatted back and forth about some of those parenting milestones that like people don't mention, but they are actually so awesome and so amazing. Just off the top of my head, I remember one of them being, and it still is very true to this day. And if you're in this season of life, you're going to be like, yes, Courtney, you're right. But it's when your kids can sit in the back seat of the vehicle and do their own seatbelt up. It is a game changer. But what I loved about that episode is not only did I tell you about these parenting milestones that, trust me, when you hit them, you're like, oh, Courtney was right. But it was also, I kind of go through business as well. And like, I made them sound very similar. Like, this is what happens at parenting, and this is what happens with your business. So if you have a business, it definitely applies. If you don't, then you can at least connect with the one. But some of those things were such good memories as a parent, obviously, and such good memories as a business owner. And I really kind of made them sort of line up with each other. So it was a fun episode for both parenting and business. The next episode I have to share with you is called Do You Know Your Superpowers? And it was in this moment that I was so happy with what I was doing. I was doing my podcast. I was working on a project. I was making a digital course, and I felt invincible. And I felt for the first time in a very long time, maybe even forever, that I am finally doing what I should be doing. And I talk in this episode about how I always wanted to be a performer, like for my whole life. It's always what I've loved to do. I love performing. And then I had a family, and I love my family. And for the past 13 years since I've had my son, even before that, I was a performer. And when I had my husband, I had a hard time like leaving him to go travel and perform. I realized I loved performing, but there was a lot of pieces of it that I didn't love. And then once I had my family and my kids, I knew I wanted to be such a present parent. I wanted to be the most awesome mom I could be. I wanted to be the mom that like I really wanted as a kid. My mom was great. My mom was amazing, but she wasn't always there. She was very busy. She worked a lot. I wanted to be the mom that was the rock star mom, like at all the games, cheering it on, making the yummy foods, knowing, which friends are coming over for which play dates. I wanted to be that mom. And I was that mom. I am that mom. I love that I'm that mom. But then I was like missing this aspect of my life. So the fact that now I get to perform to you guys, I perform in my speaking engagements, I am performing when I'm creating my digital courses, but I'm also doing it from home. I also don't have to travel around the world. I don't have to audition in front of people. I can connect with people and chat and probably do more than I actually could have if I was just, memorizing lines, say selling some sort of commercial. I get to do so much more. So that episode is really talking about how you can start honing in on your superpowers and how you can start figuring out, are you doing what you should be doing in your life? And if you're not, 2023 could be the year that you figure it out. 2023 could be the year that everything changes for you. You start figuring out what your superpowers are, and then you start doing things that align with those superpowers. And I tell you, you are going to be like, boom, mind blown. You feel invincible. I talk a lot about like superhero analogies in that episode, but you'll see why. It's definitely worth it. Check it out. So the next one I wanted to share, it's a businessy one, but I also think it's really, really important. And it's how do you how do you maintain momentum in a slow season? And I'm very honest with people. Like, I don't do as much work in the summer. The summer is my family time. I focus on them. I want to make summers amazing for them. I still do all my commitments and I'm consistent with the things that I'm supposed to be doing, but I don't take on any huge projects. I'm very aware that in the winter, I'm running around like a crazy lady because I have so many projects on the go and I love it, but I also know I can't do that all year long. It's not fair for me. It's not fair for my family. It's not fair for anybody because number one, I'm probably not going to give great quality if I'm just never taking a break. But I also know, once again, I want to make sure they have a really wonderful summer. So summers to me are a little bit slower when it comes to business. But what I've learned over the years is you still have a really good plan to like keep that momentum going. The last thing you want to do is like sit back and relax in the summer and then nothing gets done, right? That's not fair. That's not fair for that whole January to July that you've worked your butt off for, because then come September, you're going to be really upset. So that episode was really great. If that's something you're looking into, is to have, and it doesn't have to be summer. It could be any time that you want to kind of just slow down with your business. Maybe right now, coming up to the holidays, you want to have a really nice holidays with your family. So how do you do that and still keep that momentum with your business? So check that episode out. It's a really good one. The next one is also very much a business one, but it's advertising on a budget. As you know, I am thrifty. And when it comes to business, comes to advertising, I love social media and I love connecting people with really genuine ways, but I don't want to spend tons of money on advertising. So it's a really good episode. If you just want to think of some fun, simple ideas you can take on to possibly advertise your business. Maybe you're just starting out. Maybe you have, spent enough on advertising already. It's a great episode to kind of just, like I said, give you some fun ideas, things you may not have think about, just different ways you can really get out there. It is all about time and consistency though. So if you don't have the time or the time to be consistent, you probably have to pay the money on the advertising. But if you want to save, then that's how you do it. You got to get time, consistency, and a good plan. So check out that episode if that's something you're looking into and you want to check out. Oh, the next one it's definitely more of a personal one, but it was all about how to create your perfect day. And I think this is so important in life because we think we want things. We think we need to do things. We see everybody else's socials and what they're doing. And we hear about this like morning routine you should have. And you hear about like, oh, this is what this person does and it makes them very successful. And this is what that person does and that makes them successful. Oh, and look at the picture of those people and their kids. Oh, they look so happy. Like, I feel like we get super overwhelmed with all the things we think we need to do. And in this episode, I really just kind of peel it back, slow it down, and have you take all the pieces of what you actually want in your perfect day. And if you can make one perfect day, then you can make another. Then you can make another and another and another. And maybe 2023 could be your perfect year. So that was probably a good one. If you want to check that out before you hit New Year's, before you make a resolution, before you make big goals in your life, figure out what your perfect day would look like. Imagine it, smell it, like live it, and then you can start building on from there. Because sometimes we think what our perfect day is going to be or what we want, it might not actually be what you want. So it's really good to just think about it, go through that one step by step, and I would love to hear what some of your perfect days might be. Oh, the next one was one of my favorite interviews. So I usually do an interview every fourth episode. And this one was called Love Your Body. And it was interview with Courtney McCarthy. Yes, another Courtney. I talk all about how I love when there's more than one Courtney. And Courtney McCarthy owns this beautiful, it used to be an in-person studio for women to do Zumba or fitness classes or yoga classes or strength classes. But she's recently changed everything that she does and does an online model, which of course I love. But she also is kind of took a whole step about it back. And she really focuses on how people, women in particular, can love themselves as they are. Love the body that they're in. Love what your body can do. And don't work out because you want to be thinner or you want to be more toned or you want to fit into that outfit, but do it because you love how you feel when you work out. And she actually has a huge, amazing program now that you can work with her and her team. She has an incredible community that you can connect with. But it is a beautiful episode. And I have so many people reach out to me and say how much they love that episode, how they really connected to it, how they really never thought of working out that way. And the fact that once you see Courtney and hear her chatting about it, and then if you check out some of her social media, you'll be like, oh my goodness, this woman is amazing. She does all these fun TikToks that I sometimes am like, oh, I can't believe she did that. But I love that she did it, and she doesn't care because she is that confident in herself and she's that confident in what she believes. So check that one out. It is a good one for sure. The next one, it was a shocking one. It was one called I Have a Teenager, and it was right after my oldest son just turned 13, and it was like, whoo, an eye-opening moment for me. I didn't think it was a big deal. Like, it was one of those things. I did the same thing when he went to kindergarten. I was like, I'm cool. And I was walking him to kindergarten. And then all of a sudden I'm like, like ugly crying, a huge mess. I'm like, I'm not crying. It's fine. You go. You're great. Have a good day. But that's kind of what happened when I realized that all of a sudden I had a teenager in my house. And not only did I have a teenager in my house, but all of what comes next. I actually went to what's going to be his high school the other day. And they started the presentation with, welcome graduating class of 2027. And I thought in my head, wait a second, that seems like it's not, like, it was shocking to realize not only is he starting high school next year, but 2027, which doesn't seem like that far away, he'll be graduating. So it was an eye opener for sure. And I chat in that episode some of my memories of being a teenager, some of the things that like I kind of wish I knew when I was a teenager. I probably wouldn't have listened to myself because, come on, who would? But definitely things to think about when you have a teenager, maybe you are a teenager, or maybe you deal with a lot of teenagers. But it's a great episode. So if you have one teenager in your house or it's one coming up, I would check that one out. And even if maybe you want to think about yourself as a teenager, it's a good episode to listen to. Oh, the next episode I want to share was one about the must-have systems. And I actually talk about must-have systems in your house and must-have systems in your business because they align. And it's like, I don't know if you've ever seen those people on social media and you're like, man, that mom is so organized, or that dad is so, he does all the things. Like, how do these people do it? They do it because they have systems. They treat their house and home as they do their business. So they have really great systems. So that episode is so good. And I'm still working on really implementing all of those systems so that everybody is working as best as they possibly can, but also to kind of just make life easier, right? Like who doesn't need to make life a little bit easier on all of us? The last one I want to share with you guys, and especially if it's this time of year and you're feeling stressed and you're feeling the overwhelm, I did a really great episode all about navigating the holidays. And once again, it was about being a parent and a business owner, and whether you fit into one or either or both. It is a great episode because I do really give you simple steps, simple strategies to make your holiday season enjoyable. I find this time of year, and even myself, and I do these episodes and I share with you, and then sometimes I go, oh, I need to listen to my own advice. But I find that I really am trying to take this season and enjoy it. I really am trying to make the moments magical because that's what parents do this time of year. And we love seeing our kids' faces light up and we love having all the things happen. But it sometimes is really hard to do. And sometimes I feel like the clock is working against us because we have all these other things we have to do in life, like jobs and commitments and that the mega list of like holiday things that need to get done, sometimes they get pushed down to the bottom of the list. But for me this year, I'm really just focusing on the experiences. All the experiences that we really haven't had the chance to have in the last few years because of COVID, because of all those things. So yes, if you want to check out a really great episode, it's Navigating the Holidays Through Parenting and Your Business. It's a really good one. Like I said, it goes step by step. It gives you a whole bunch of great ideas to really not only survive the holiday season, but to actually really enjoy it and create memories and have a wonderful time. And even with your business, have your business grow and like have a great holiday season rather than just be like, okay, I'm busy with this instead. So it gives you some great things to think about, great steps to take. Well, my friends, that is all for now. I hope you liked my quick little year in review of some of the things that has happened. I kind of really focused on pop culture-ish things, and then I shared with you some of my very favorite episodes. Like I said, you can check them out on the Femme Network. You can check them out on therenaissancemama.com. But I want to hear from you too, because this is my favorite part, is connecting with you guys and hearing what are your favorite episodes. What do you want more of? What do you want less of? Like, I am doing this for you, so I want to hear from you. Let me know on my socials. I'm on Instagram at CourtneyRenaissanceMama.com. You can find me everywhere, but I want to hear from you. I want these conversations to go because I know 2023 is just going to be epic. I have a feeling things are going to happen for me. I have so many projects that I'm so excited to share about. I have this huge, fabulous, incredible feeling that it is going to be so good. So I want you and me to have an incredible year together, and I would love to hear what you want to hear more of. Okay, friends, bye for now.